Hi, we're Diamond and Silk, and we love the Naked Truth Report.
Hi, as a Truth Warrior listener, I want you to, each and every one of you, donate $1. This is Antoinette, and I'm going to do it. You need to do it. Go to the website, the Naked Truth Report. Merry Christmas.
Warning, the following program has been rated T for truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, we think you can. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report with your host, Truth Warrior and Mythbuster Kathleen Wells. The place where we distinguish fact from fiction, where data is used to drive points home, and where Kathleen takes the position that Democrats and black politicians have destroyed black America. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. Now, your host, Kathleen Wells.
Good evening. Yes, there was a lot of traffic. I was listening to, Chuck Todd, Meet the Press. And so Ukraine's borders are more important, are given more significance than the U.S. borders. I hear that the U.S. borders are beaming over with migrants. That's what they say, migrants, as opposed to illegal aliens. In fact, war correspondent Michael Young was in D.C. this week talking about because Sunday starts a new week. Last week, talking to the Center of Immigration Studies. He was on a panel with the mayor of one of the cities in Panama. They were talking to folks. The discussion was hosted by the Center for Immigration Studies, and he also met with congresspeople. And he also mentioned that there are NGOs that are responsible for transporting these migrants back and forth and providing them with facilities, money, directions, travel, things like that. And it's a bad thing. Yes, we've got too many illegal aliens in the city. This is why we have traffic, okay? Because a lot of these people on the freeway, on the 10 and on the 5, they're illegal. They shouldn't even be here. It wouldn't be this crowded if these folks weren't in the city, right? Am I right? And I hear Arizona, Pima is now overloaded with new migrants. Is this going to go on forever? Forever and a day, as long as Biden is in office? And it's going to go on forever and a day, just like the what? I have to speak in code. Why do I have to speak in code? Why? Because I want to have my show downloaded to YouTube. And I just noticed recently, I thought YouTube deleted like maybe 3 or 4 of my videos, and this is the code word I'm using, talking about the F. You guys know what the 2020 F is, or S, or talking about the V. We know what the V is, going on forever. You see, it's unending. It's never going to stop because there's so many V's. That's the code word coming up. The newest V is the what? O. Are you guys following me? I hope you are. You know, the newest V is the O, right? And presumably this O is like stronger than the last D V. You get it? I don't know. And we know it's not. Because we listen to who? Dr. Robert Malone on the War Room. And he tells us what's going on. Because when you listen to the Washington Journal, which I've gone back to listening, I went through a phase where I couldn't listen anymore because it was just unbearable listening to these Trump haters talking about still hating Trump when Biden is in office on Washington Journal. Folks still call in and blame Trump for the inflation. They say because of the tariffs he laid down when he was in office. And because of the V or the C, that's why there's inflation. This is what people are. So anyway, I got so sick of listening to it, I had to take a break. But I went back listening to it the last couple of days, and they're talking about. In fact, Jesse is the host on Sunday. So I listened this morning, and then on Saturday, I think the host's name is, I can't remember, and then the woman's name, she was on Friday. Her name is Greta, and for 2 days straight, they had 2 guests that they didn't say, but you could tell they were Hillary supporters. They were Hillary supporters, and they keep bringing up this issue of the fear of our democracy. Our democracy is at stake because what? Because Trump supporters are questioning still the election. Oh, I can't say it because it will be banned. If I use the word, I almost said it, almost came out. Before I get into that, I want to say, I'm going to get into it in a minute about Hillary and her master class. I'm going to get into that later on. But first, I want to say I can't decide if I want to title the show "The Left Lacks Self-Awareness." The left lacks self-awareness. And when you lack self-awareness, you cannot properly assess anything or anyone. And this is why they get Trump wrong all the time. So that's one title, The Left Lacks Self-Awareness. And then the other title is Human Nature Remains Consistent Throughout the Centuries. Each week I have a message that I put in Kathleen's Corner. If you go to my website, you'll see that's the message I have there. Human nature remains consistent throughout centuries, throughout the ages. That's something that the founding fathers knew. But anyway, let's get back to this issue of callers into the Washington Journal. They constantly complain about Fox. Okay, we Trump supporters don't like Fox anymore. Why? Because of what happened with the E in 2020. I'm using the code word, the E in 2020. So we're not into Fox, but nonetheless, MSNBC and CNN push that, and the New York Times and the Washington Post push that Russian collusion hogwash paid for by Hillary. The Steele dossier was really the Hillary dossier. They pushed that narrative for 3 years, 4 years, 3.5 years, and it was not true. More indictments are going to come out from Durham. And so how can you talk about Fox when Fox was the only channel other than One American News and Newsmax that talked about the illegitimacy of the illegitimacy of the Russian collusion business. But Fox, MSNBC, New York Times, New York Post, and Washington Journal pushed it for 3.5 years. But yet, Democrat voters, the left, keep talking about the fact that Fox is so bad. Yeah, Fox's conspiracy theories. We know that the CIA coined the term conspiracy theories to cover up their involvement with the JFK assassination. Oh, go to my website, and I ask you guys every time, listen, go to my website and put in your email address and register because you'll be getting my blog post and my newsletter. My newsletter I haven't started yet, but I just posted a blog post on the review of the book. Remember, Professor Wilford Riley was a guest, and I read his book, and I wrote a review on that book, Taboo. So there's a book review on that. And then I already did a blog post, but I haven't published it yet on the Statue of Liberty. I have my editor editing that. And I'm also going to I finished the Statue of Liberty one, which I got from Roy Beck's book on Back of the Hiring Line. The intent and symbolism of the Statue of Liberty has nothing to do with Israel Lazarus' poem talking about immigrants. It had nothing to do with it. It had to do with the Emancipation Proclamation, the freeing slaves, the freeing of slaves. Yes, the freeing of slaves. It had to do with the fact that that other governments should be like America. The Republican government that gave freedom to their slaves. And the other thing that's what the Statue of Liberty stands for. So it was a gift to America from French abolitionists. But somehow here comes the left misinterpreting that. Also, I'm going to do a blog on the 3/5 clause, the 3/5 compromise. That's another thing that the left, let me tell you something, folks. Everything that the left, every narrative, just like what we're seeing now with the C and the V, every narrative that the establishment pushes is a fabrication, is a falsehood. And we're living it now. We're experiencing it now. And this is why, and another book that I have in my book promotions is the book about the Nixon conspiracy, And in fact, I saw the author on The War Room with Steve Bannon. His first name is Jeff. I can't remember his last name. Jeff spelled with a G, Geoff. And he was a young man, and he worked with the Nixon administration. What they did to Nixon is the same thing we're experiencing now, what they're doing to Trump. It's the same thing. So it's important. I haven't read that book yet, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to get it. You can purchase it on my website. That book explains, and he has the receipts, as they say. He has the receipts because he was in the administration, as to how that was like a cabal working against Nixon to get him to resign. He resigned before he was impeached. And the same modus operandi, the same playbook that was used back then is being used now against Trump. And I think it's important for us to read this book. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it, and I will discuss it once I read it, because history is important. I always say that. It shows us what we're experiencing now and how all of the narratives that are being pushed to the American people, all of the narratives about the C and the V, and the narratives about immigration, and the narratives about the border, and the narratives about racism. That's why we want to look at taboo, because racism isn't even defined properly, okay? The left twist everything, and they push a narrative that is pushing the agenda of the elites and the establishment so that they can, just like climate change. I don't know if I get banned or if I get deplatformed for talking about climate change, but that's another thing. I have a book on that in the book promotion. Sebastian Gorka had a guest talking about that on his show. How that's not true. And Biden is trying to discuss the fact that the tornado in Kentucky and it went 220 miles, I heard. It went across states. That tornado, they want to say that has to do with climate change. Everything is a lie, folks. Nothing is the truth. And all of these folks in D.C., in their bubble, are lying to us about everything. And it's always been this way. It's always been this way. So I want to talk about the fact that Hillary Clinton, can you believe she is now conducting a master class? And in this master class, it's on leadership. See, Hillary, like I said, they had 4 guests in the last 2 days on Washington Journal who were Hillary supporters. 2 of the guests have a podcast name, and the name of the podcast, I think, is Pantsuit, the Pantsuit Podcast. Now, they didn't say, and I think they're from actually Kentucky, they didn't say that they were Hillary supporters, but if you name your podcast the Pantsuit Podcast, and you're really sort of like trying to give the impression that democracy is somehow at stake because of the right-wing folks and the Trump supporters, democracy, this is a new narrative that they're pushing now. Now, I don't know if this is in response to the fact that something is going to come out eventually. I listened to the X-22 report. I don't know if you guys listen to that, but he always says in that report, I just started recently listening to bits of it every now and then. And he always says, I think his name, what is it, Dave Nasipso or something like that. He always says, and the deep state, it's so funny to me. He always says the deep state players are on the run. And, we're like thinking, are they? He says that every episode. The deep state players are on the run. Well, if they're on the run, we don't know. We'll see when things are, you've been saying this. Mike Lindell's been saying this. Everyone has been saying that the 2020E, the F in the 2020E will be found out. Yes, he has all the evidence. Mike Lindell isn't going to be using the packet captures anymore. They have another argument that attorney generals are putting forward. with the Supreme Court. I think they're using the taking clause and the equal protection clause. If I keep going on, I'll get this video banned. I want my subscribers on my YouTube channel, the Naked Truth Report YouTube channel. I would like you guys to now migrate over to my Rumble channel, please. You can find my Rumble channel. You can go to my website and see all my social media channels where I'm at. I'm on Getter. I'm on Rumble. I'm on YouTube. And the exciting thing, and I'm on Twitter also. I'm on Kathleen TNTR, Kathleen the Naked Truth Report. Join me on Twitter. I talk a lot every morning. I have a group. It's a group of us. I just joined back on Twitter. I got off, and then I just got back on a couple of months ago. And every morning we look at Washington Journal and we comment on it. Now, on Washington Journal, they're still pushing every day almost, or every show, they're pushing this V business, the CV, okay? And the B. Like every day they had a guy with World Health. World Health is like an oxymoron. I said that in my tweet. We're concerned about our American citizens' health. We're not all immigrants. We're all American citizens. You see, conservatives always embrace the words and terms that the left make up. We need to develop our own words and terms. We're not a nation of immigrants. We're a nation of citizens, you see. So every morning I watch Washington Journal and I tweet, and there's a few of us, like maybe 5 or 10 of us, that go back and forth and we're talking about what they're talking about. And they're always talking about falsehoods. And it's like every day or every other day they have someone on there pushing the V, okay? Pushing the V like nobody's business. And the B. So in other words, every 6 months we're going to be getting the B. You know what I'm saying? Do you guys know what I'm saying by the B? Every 6 months for the rest of our lives, we're supposed to be getting the B, the boo, and then the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine? Who wants to do that? Who would subject themselves to that when we know that there's early treatments for this thing? And I don't even want to go over it anymore because it's absurd, but we see where we're going now. You see where we are now. You see what they're pushing now. You see what they're doing now. And in fact, Biden wants to even go because of the OV. You know what the O is? Because of that, Biden wants to now impose stricter restrictions. And you see what they did in New York City just because of the O. And they haven't even done any kind of they don't even have any kind of data yet on it. And they're already reacting in extreme ways with extreme measures. So this is where we are now. So getting back to Hillary Clinton and her crying, she was reading her speech she would have delivered if she had won. Hello? Why? Why would she do that? Because I think she wants to get back in the game for 2024. Either that one thing, or this. She's on the run. As the X22 report says, the deep state players are on the run. He says that every show. I don't think they're on the run, do you? But there's something going on because of the X22 report says the deep state players are on the run because evidence of that is Durham and his indictments, and that he says that the military is in control. I doubt that very seriously. But one thing he says that I agree with is that everyone had to see. They had to see what the left and the Biden administration and the Democratic Party would do, what they're really about. Because Trump has been saying what they were about. He's been telling us, but now we're actually seeing it. We're experiencing what they are about. So when you say they are about communism, those labels, and socialism or totalitarianism or authoritarianism, when you use those words, people are like, oh, no, 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 no. But now we're experiencing it. People are seeing it. And they need it to see it, as opposed to being told that this is what they're about. Now we're seeing it. And that is making more and more people, and I'll say this is for sure, you have more and more callers into Washington Journal. I don't know if you guys listen to Washington Journal. You should, because it's an interesting exercise or an examination of America. Now, I know it's only a snippet of the American people, but it's that snippet of Americans who are engaged and interested in politics. And it's interesting. I mean, you can definitely come away with a perspective as to how those on the left think. And this is how I came away with the idea, this title, The Left Lacks Self-Awareness. And also because of some of my friends that I talk to, I realize when I say something, it doesn't register to them. It doesn't click in their brain because they don't have the self-awareness. They haven't taken that inward journey to look at themselves and see how they are. And only when you can look at yourself and take that inward journey and see who you are, can you assess who someone else is. You see, that's the only way. And this is why the left always can never figure out what Trump is about. They can only assign labels to him. This is why they cannot properly assess Trump supporters, because they don't know who they are. They don't have self-awareness about themselves. And you can see that when you listen to Washington Journal. And the same is true, I think, about Hillary. She has no self-awareness. This is why she reads this victory speech. She has no idea, and I would assume no one around her does either. And maybe if there are people around her who can see it, but they don't want to say it, because it's sort of like with Whitney Houston or something. When, the people that surround famous people or rich people or whatever, or who pay their salaries, they never tell them the truth about how they are, because they want to keep their job, because they want to keep their employment with the person, or they want to keep in good fashion with that person. So I'm thinking people around Hillary Clinton never tell her what she's like, because it wouldn't serve them well. Because everyone knows, any intelligent person, any person with self-awareness would think, now this is how many years after the 2016 campaign? And I'm going to now read, 5 years after the 2016 campaign, which I lost, and I'm now going to read my victory speech? It's like, how is that even relevant? And it was all about her. Me, my mother, this, I, that, I, this. Anyone who talks like that, it's like, wait a second. Let me tell you, if I spoke like that all the time, I developed self-awareness. How? Because my father wouldn't let me get away with stuff. He would call me on it, okay? He would call me on something if I was doing it, like, why are you talking about yourself so much? Or why are you being insecure? So I'm thinking, and so I would have to think about it. Am I being insecure, or am I talking about myself? I remember my dad would say, why don't you do something someone else wants to do for a change? Why do you always have to do what you want to do? Just go along with someone else for a change. So no one ever told Hillary, why don't you see someone else's perspective or point of view for a change? No one is telling Hillary the truth, because she thought it was a good idea to read her victory speech from 2016. Who would ever think that? Someone who lacks self-awareness. There's my music. Merry Christmas, and we'll be right back.
Hi, as a Truth Warrior listener, I want you to, each and every one of you, donate $1. This is Antoinette, and I'm going to do it. You need to do it. Go to the website, the Naked Truth Report. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome back. Let's see. The three things. Oh, one thing I want to mention is that also you can purchase Michael Calder's book, JFK versus the CIA, on my website. And you can also purchase the book, Taboo by Professor Wilford Riley on my website. And also the book on Nixon, the conspiracy against Nixon. The three cases, law cases, Jussie Smollett, Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Elizabeth Holmes. These three cases were not aired. They weren't aired, and in fact, they weren't visible to the American people like the Rittenhouse case. We would have liked to have seen each of them actually. Ghislaine? Is it Ghislaine? How do you pronounce her name? Ghislaine Maxwell. We'd like to see that. In fact, there was a tracker on Twitter that was tracking all of the tracking that trial. He was on Twitter, and this is the thing: Twitter deplatformed him. Okay, isn't that telling? Why would Twitter do that? What is Twitter invested in? What is social media? What is big tech invested in? Initially, Twitter was supposed to be a space where free speech reigned and where the American people were checking on the politicians and the establishment. But yet it comes to find out big tech is in cahoots with the government, you see. And it's going to be interesting when Trump gets his own social media, Truth Social. We're all looking forward to that. I'm going to be on that. I know you guys are too, because we'll hear the truth. Why would you ban and censor another point of view? We have only been getting one point of view regarding all of these major issues, major narratives that have been permeating the American airwaves. We're getting one point of view. We're not getting all of it. And anything that goes against the narrative being pushed by the elites, by the deep state players, by the establishment, is considered labeled disinformation. That's unreasonable. We know it's unreasonable. If the truth, whatever is true, stands up against criticism, stands up against another point of view. The truth always prevails. So why is there a necessity to ban and censor information? Now, I wanted to talk about that the Jussie Smollett trial. And this is some of the things that some of the politicians said about the trial. This was as soon as that incident happened, not the trial, but the incident that happened, all the politicals, all the folks in the left wing, in the mainstream media came out giving sympathy to Jussie Smollett. Do you remember? So it wasn't a publicity stunt what Jussie did. It was a political stunt. Why was it a political stunt? I believe because Kamala Harris and Cory Booker wanted to come out with an anti-lynching bill. So Kamala Harris said when Jussie Smollett experienced, everybody was in on this. Okay? Everybody was on Jussie's smile. The guy was lying out his teeth. Okay, he was a fraud. He was a phony. He's a fake. He was an actor. Kamala Harris said, Jussie Smollett is one of the Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I am praying for his quick recovery. This was an attempted modern day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. That was Kamala Harris. Bernie Sanders. The racist and homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett is a horrific instance of the struggling hostility towards minorities around the country. We must come together to eradicate all forms of bigotry and violence. Joe Biden. What happened today to Jussie Smollett must never be tolerated in this country. We must stand up and demand that we no longer give this hate safe harbor, that homophobia and racism have no place on our streets and in our hearts. We are with you, Jussie. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There's no such thing as racially charged. This attack was not possibly homophobic. It was a racist and homophobic attack. If you don't like what is happening to our country, then work to change it. It is no one's job to water down or sugarcoat the rise of hate crimes. Lori Lightfoot. My thoughts and prayers are with Jussie Smollett. Everyone deserves to live safely as their true, authentic self in this city. As mayor, I will make sure that, regardless of the victim's stature, hate crime incidents and complaints are fully investigated. Cory Booker. The vicious attack on actor Jussie Smollett was an attempted modern-day lynching. I'm glad he's safe. To those in Congress who don't feel the urgency to pass our anti-lynching bill, you see, designating lynching as a federal hate crime, I urge you to pay attention. You see, this was a political stunt. I'm sure he got paid to do it. Joanne Reed. Nooses never really disappeared as messages of a very specific kind of terror. But every time they're used, my God, it's chilling. Praying for Jussie's full recovery and for all of us. Rashida Tlaib. When one of the most famous Black and gay men in America is not safe, the message is clearer than it has ever been. The dangerous lies spewing from the right wing is killing and hurting our people. Thinking of you, Jussie Smollett, and my LGBTQ neighbors. Now, even this is what these folks, you see, this was a political stuff. I want to read the last one from Good Morning America, because it went that far. Okay, even Good Morning America. This was like mainstream. Oh, this is Nancy Pelosi. This race. You see, they all use the same language. You understand? And immediately that day, they all reacted with the same language and narrative, and it was about Kamala Harris and Cory Booker passing an anti-lynching bill. And if you read Wilfred Riley's book, Taboo and Hate Crime Hoax, you realize that most of these hate crimes are hoaxes. They're not even real. Okay, Nancy Pelosi, the racist, homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett is an affront to our humanity. No one should be attacked for who they are or whom they love. I pray that Jussie has a speedy recovery and that justice is served. May we all commit to ending this hate once and for all. This was something that they did intentionally. Okay, Jussie was in on it. It was a political ruse. Why would he even, and then his attorney now, he got on the stand and his lies were so obvious, and his attorney now, given that he was found guilty, is even suggesting that they're going to appeal the guilt. These people lack self-awareness if they think everyone is this stupid. This is Good Morning America. This is Good Morning America. Jussie Smollett believes justice will be served after brutal attack. Can you, oh my God. It's like disgusting. It's disgusting, the lies. The establishment, the left, the mainstream media is lying about everything, including the V and the C and the F and the B. Okay, why don't I take a call now from, hi Brent, welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Merry Christmas, Kathleen the Great.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, first of all, do not limit using any of your words from A to Z on YouTube. You know, this is how schizophrenics are made. Parents often make up crazy no-win situations for their children. And when you get in a situation where nothing you do is ever right, it creates mental illness. And that's what, in effect, social media is doing. There's no way to figure out what they're trying to do. And you're not designed to figure it out, because once you figure it out, you realize it's all a con. It's all a scam.
Right.
But many times it's amazing how much stuff you can get onto YouTube, and so they're very selective. And one of the things, using a C word for the what I call now the Climate COVID Con, is there are two amazing documentaries that you can get on YouTube for free. And right now, what I first had in my mind was Climate Hustle, made in 1916, and a new one just came out in, did I say 1916? That's what, 2016.
You're thinking of the Russian Revolution. No, that's 1816.
So somehow it didn't sound right. But yeah, Climate Hustle is a wonderful documentary on the con, and a new one just came out last year as well, Climate Hustle 2. That you would have to pay for. But the one I think is just outstanding was done 17 years ago, or 15 years ago, in 2007, and it's called The Great Global Warming Swindle.
Okay.
And it's done so well, and everything they say is accurate, but it's actually been added to. So what you get in the climate warming swindle is is all accurate.
I'll probably upload them or download them to my Rumble or my website. And in fact, I'm going to watch them because I'm going to start talking about climate change because as of now, that isn't necessarily deplatformed or banned or censored. Yeah, not as of now. So, I'll download that to my Rumble and YouTube channel and to my website. I'll watch them because I do want to start talking about that climate change, which is a scam. Yes.
Yeah, and also just going with Jesse Smollett.
Yeah.
As Dave Chappelle calls him.
Right, Juicy. I think he calls him Juicy.
I think it was Jesse Smollett, the Frenchman.
Right, exactly.
Oh, did you see his routine?
Yes, I did. And can you believe all those politicians were like, oh, my God, poor Jesse?
It's astounding. And if you want to find out who the bigots and the racists in America are, just look to the people who are supporting Jesse. You know, it's Lori Lightfoot, Camilla Harris, Cory Booker, Joy Reid.
Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swalwell, Good Morning America. What is that woman's name? What's her name? I can't remember the woman's name who interviewed him. What's her name?
Joy Reid?
No, the woman who on Good Morning America on 7. Yeah, remember she sat down with him? What's her name? I can't remember.
I forget it too.
Yeah.
She's awful.
Yeah.
Robin something.
Yeah, exactly.
And and so it's very easy to identify who the racists and the bigots in this country are. Just listen to the left. We just have to be able to open our eyes and hear it. It's not very complicated. And I was thinking about the Statue of Liberty and Emma Lazarus.
Right.
This idea that
she was an immigration activist.
Oh, okay. But whatever she was, here she's saying, send us your predators, your plunderers, your pedophile sex slavers, and your fentanyl. And we have to recognize, as nice as the sentiment is, to have immigrants come to America, which, my parents were, as well as, I don't know if yours were as well.
No. But that wasn't the intent of you read the book, that wasn't the intent of the gift from France, from the abolitionists. Their intent wasn't to bring in immigrants. They were applauding America for getting rid of slavery.
Yes, that's an amazing concept. But the idea is, even if she meant it, it's a poem. It's not the Constitution, and it's not the law, and it doesn't make good sense.
Right.
So why are we always quoting Emma Lazarus as if she's some sort of a saint?
Right. Because the left permeates, they're pervasive, they take over the airwaves and the schools and the culture. They permeate these things and have for years, since Emma Lazarus, since the Statue of Liberty, since Woodrow Wilson, since 1917. They've been permeating academia and media and the newspapers.
Yeah. They've made their way into Disneyland and to Superman and our comic books.
Right.
They are a cancer. And once we can identify that their whole purpose is our destruction, it is not to create anything at all. And that just reminds me of Hillary's slave master class speech.
What was she doing reading her victory speech? The speech. What is that about exactly?
I'm looking at it as a pre-indictment public relations speech. I think she's shaking. There is so much evidence coming out of that, what a criminal she is. I think she's just moving to get public sentiment on her side.
Well, yeah, see, it's either one or the other. Like the X-22 report always says, the deep state players, they're shaking in their boots, And so he says that every show. And we're waiting.
Yeah.
So it's either that, the Durham report is coming, the Durham indictments are going to get closer, getting Hillary closer to the fire, or she's preparing to run again in 2024. Because they're on Washington Journal, they had 4. You can tell, and in fact, let's see, there's a report that leaked that the White House Biden administration secretly met with journalists to push more positive news reports about the Biden administration. In fact, Dana Milback with the Washington Post even wrote an article about how the media is harder on Biden than they are on Trump. You see, it's funny.
Well, if they're speaking, they're lying. And even if they tell you a factual reality, a factual truth, it's done in the service of a lie. So we really can't take them seriously. We have to listen to what they're saying to see what their strategy is. But everything they say is just a twist and a fraud. And the more we expose that, with these documentaries, with our words, with our concepts, the easier it'll be to bring it to an end. I was thinking, just going to one other thing you brought up with Nixon, I think there's a very good reason they've had to destroy Nixon. And first of all, is that he was an anti-communist. And so he's the great anti-communist of his time. But he also made the unforgivable sin of saving Israel from total decimation in the Yom Kippur War. Without him, Israel would have been conquered by the Arab armies. They'd run out of all materiel. And he made one of the largest airlifts in history, if not the largest airlift.
Well, that's something I didn't know, but I definitely want to get the book and read it. It's written by a man. His first name is Jeff, Geoff. I want to read it because what they did to Nixon is what they're doing to Trump. It's the same playbook, and we should realize that they're trying to get rid of Trump. Nothing is new under the sun. Everything is the same thing, the same playbook, and they're doing it to Trump supporters. They lie. They think they're lying. They lack, because to me it's so obvious.
It should be obvious, and it's like a magic trick. When you know how it's done, it's very clear. You see it everywhere. But when you don't know the trick, then it's like, oh my gosh, this is brand new. This is novel.
Right.
They did it to President Reagan, and they did it to Mitt Romney. I mean, they turned Mitt Romney into one of the world's worst people because he put a dog on top of his car. And I've seen so many dogs who have their heads knocked out, out the side of the door. They love the wind.
Well, and when we see what Mitt Romney... this is what I want to mention, is that, and I have it in my show notes. In my show notes, I have a interesting video that Patrick Byrne, he attended this event. I can't remember what it is. I'm going to look it up right now. But I think it's called like the American Revival or something like that, or the American... it's some event that patriots are attending. Mm-hmm. And he attended this event. I'm bringing up my website now. He attended the event in Dallas, Texas last night. And he did a what do you call it? He stood up and gave a summary of his experience with the FBI since he was a youngster, an undergrad at Stanford. And he talked about how he got involved with the FBI and why. and how he continued to have interactions with the FBI throughout since he was in his early 20s. He is now like 50-something, 58, I think. So, but the most recent contact, and this is an interesting thing, and it's in my show notes, and I'm also going to upload it to my Rumble page. Let's see, I don't have it here. But the most interesting thing that I think that people should know is that he talked about how the FBI in 2015, wanted to give Hillary not a bribe, but kind of wanted to give her how do you say it, sort of like set her up, so to speak, set her up. And if she fell for it, then they would have something on her. This is something very interesting. I'm going to upload it. I looked on my show notes. I don't have it there yet. It should be there later today, but it's a speech. It's a speech delivered by Patrick Byrne in Dallas, Texas, with this American Revival group or something like that. And it's interesting. I'll have it on my Rumble page. I'll download it there, and I'll download it on my YouTube page. Thanks for calling in, Brett, to the Naked Truth Report. Bye. Now let me take a call from Linda. Hi, Linda. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Kathleen, I am so worried about them outlawing abortion at the Supreme Court at this particular time, because I'm worried that it's going to hurt our election here in California. I knew that when it first came out that Newsom was going to say something about it. Sure enough, he did. He said, California will not outlaw abortion. And all these stupid pro-life, pro-choice people are going to believe him, and vote for him.
Well, I don't know how you think how will that impact our elections in California?
Why can't they wait until after Election Day?
But what do you think we're going to gain in California? And wait, they didn't come out against, they didn't overturn Roe v. Wade. The law.
No, but it's going to happen during the campaign.
And who's campaigning that you're concerned about?
The gubernatorial campaign.
Oh, so you don't think a Democrat will win in California?
No, I'm worried that Newsom will get reelection because of that.
I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, the thing of it is, whoever's going to win, it's not going to be a Republican.
Well, I thought there would be there would be a chance, if this didn't go to this thing about Roe versus Wade didn't go to the Supreme Court, but Newsom is going to play this to the tilt.
Well, yeah, he's already playing it, but Roe v. Wade wasn't overturned. The Texas law was sent back to the states. It's left as is, and surprisingly, Chief Justice Roberts sided with the liberals. I don't think it's going to impact what's going on here in California one bit. We're lost.
And when they were doing the thing in Texas, Larry Elder lost because Newsom said, my opponent, Larry Elder, is going to make California like Texas. Whoever runs against Newsom, Newsom is going to say, my opponent is going to make California like Minnesota.
Oh, it's the Reawaken America. Reawaken America is the event that Patrick Byrne spoke out, and a lot of Americans are speaking there. And it's a speech. He shows you how deep the deep state is. So I'm going to download this to my website, and also I'll place it in my show notes, and I'll also have it on my Rumble channel and my YouTube channel. It's worth watching. It's very interesting because Patrick Byrne is a very interesting person. But since his undergrad years at Stanford, he's been involved with the FBI. For like humanitarian, he's sort of been a pawn used by the FBI for humanitarian efforts. And it's an interesting thing I want you guys to look at. Listen, Linda, California is not going to vote a Republican in office. for governor.
Well, with all this crime going on, there would have been a good chance.
Now, that's a good thing to talk about this. What do they call it? Smash and grab?
Smash and grab.
Yeah, this is interesting what's going on in the homicide that took place in Beverly Hills. Well, with liberal policies, this is what's going on. And I do think more people are waking up, yes. But if we don't fix what happened in 2020, that F that happened in 2020, hey, listen, my YouTube subscribers, this is my request to you to migrate over to my Rumble channel, please. The YouTube has deleted many, like 8 of my shows. So migrate over to my Rumble channel. I'll appreciate it. Thanks, Linda, for calling into the Naked Truth Report. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.